The moment I started reading ingredient labels on my food, I couldn't stop. I started reading labels on everything, and I realized I've been avoiding chemicals at the dinner table while covering my body in them every single day. I'm gonna walk you through the 5 things I stopped buying, but most importantly, why I stopped buying those specific versions, and I'll show you what non-toxic version I swapped them to. Stick through all 5 because I guarantee at least one of these is in your house right now and you have no idea what it's doing to you. I'm not a doctor, I figured this out because I wanted to. I spent over a year cleaning up my diet. Whole foods, no ultra processed slop garbage, the whole thing. And most of the inflammation did clear up, but I still had dry skin, dry hair, random breakouts on my back. Nothing major, but it was annoying me. And what I found when I actually started digging into the products I used every single day genuinely pissed me off. Everything I'm about to tell you, I cross-referenced with peer-reviewed studies, and I'll name them as we go. Okay, so the first one is deodorant. All throughout middle school, I used Axe. Then in high school, I started having an insane armpit sweat problem due to my anxiety. Looking back, my diet was garbage and my anxiety was through the roof, so my body was running hot all the time. So what I did, because I didn't know at the time, is I switched over to Gillette Clinical Strength Antiperspirant. The whole point of antiperspirant is to block your body from sweating. Just think about that for a second. We are meant to sweat. That's how your body dumps heat. It's how your body dumps stuff it wants out, and we are plugging the drain. The way it does that is through aluminum. Aluminum salts form a literal plug inside your sweat duct. The skin under your armpit is some of the thinnest skin of your body, which so happens to be right next to your lymph nodes. Your lymph nodes are how your body clears waste. So essentially you have an aluminum plug sitting right on top of your body's drainage system every single time you put it on. Here's the switch I made. I switched over to Organic Jaguar, which has no aluminum and simple clean ingredients, no chemicals. The first 2 weeks were pretty rough, I'm not gonna lie. I was sweating like a maniac because I was finally dumping what had been held inside for so long. But after that, my body actually adjusted. Here's what really changed that. I cleaned up my diet, stopped spraying cologne loaded with synthetic chemicals, and now I don't sweat the way I used to. Not because something is blocking it, but because my body doesn't need to dump as much. So that's the real fix. Stop blocking your pits, clean up what's loading it, use a clean deodorant with natural, simple ingredients to neutralize the smell as much as possible. Now this next one genuinely pisses me off. It's air fresheners. I used to put those stupid Febreze plugins in every single room. I would spray it on couches, I would spray it on pillows. I thought I was making my house smell good, but now looking back at it, I was spraying synthetic chemicals on those things, filling up the air in a sealed room and breathing them in for like 16 hours a day. Here's the thing that a lot of people don't know. If you go to Target right now, you'll see phthalate-free, paraben-free, formaldehyde-free all over these products. And yes, companies did remove these specific chemicals after enough people complained. But that does not mean the product is clean. EWG tested Febreze Air Effects and found 89 different airborne contaminants in just one product. Phthalates were the villain everyone knew about, so companies took them out and kept the rest. The mechanism is still the same. You are heating synthetic chemicals into a sealed room for 16 hours a day and breathing them in. And for the men watching, women, stick around because your point is next. These synthetic fragrance chemicals act as endocrine disruptors. They mess with your hormones, specifically testosterone. The state of California lists multiple fragrance compounds under Prop 64 as known reproductive toxins. And here's the kicker. Companies don't have to tell you any of this is in the product. Under US law, over 3,500 chemicals can be legally hidden under the word fragrance because fragrance formulas are protected as trade secrets. And it's not just plugins. Scented candles from places like Bath & Body Works do the same exact shit. Same synthetic fragrance, same hidden chemicals, just a different delivery system. So what you should do is throw out the stupid plugins and chemical candles, open up a freaking window. I know it's hard, I believe in you. If you do want to have a scent in the room, just light a clean beeswax candle or a soy candle without any synthetic fragrance. And if you ever see fragrance or parfum on any label that's a chemical cocktail under a trade secret loophole to increase the profits of these evil corporations, no matter what the front of the bottle says, don't let them play you. Okay, onto the lotion. This one is everywhere, and I see people slathering it on themselves and their kids, and it gets under my skin. I used to use hemp lotion. It smells great, feels great, loaded with synthetic chemicals, parabens, and illicit chemicals I can't even pronounce. Your skin is the largest organ of your body, and when you put something on your skin, it doesn't just sit there. A meaningful percentage of it gets physically absorbed directly into your bloodstream. There's no liver filtration for skin, so whatever you rub on it goes straight in. The fragrance loophole alone is insane. Again, companies don't have to disclose what's in fragrance because it's classified as a trade secret. The law lets companies hide up to 3,500 different chemicals under that one word. Again, I keep repeating it. It's because I want people to realize that this fragrance word looks so harmless and simple. 3,500 different chemicals they don't have to tell you. A lot of them, as we talked about in my last point, contain phthalates. Not to mention, if you're rubbing in these lotions every single day after you shower when your pores are wide open from the heat, that's even more absorption of these toxic chemicals. Now I use beef tallow, coconut oil, or olive oil, whatever I'm in the mood for that day. And yes, the same stuff you cook with. The fatty acid profile of these fats literally matches what your skin is made of. The cheapest way to do this is just go and grab tallow fat or the oils from the cooking aisle and use it straight. Works incredibly on dry skin, trust me. If you do want a pre-made blend, I go with Ungovernable Project. They use tallow specifically and mix it with stuff like honey, vanilla, orange, whatever you can get. Just read the label and make sure it's clean with simple whole ingredients you can actually pronounce. Okay, now let's talk about laundry detergent. And really quick before we get into this next one, I'm building a community where I break all this stuff down step by step. The exact products I use, the routines, everything. It's literally going to be a one-stop shop. Link in the description if you want to get in when it launches. I'm still going to post here on YouTube. I'm actually dropping a video next week on the natural detox protocol I use because once you stop putting this garbage into and onto your body, you have to help your body clear out what's already there. Okay, now the laundry detergent. I used to use plain old regular Tide. I loved how it smelled fresh because when you grow up, you associate that chemical smell as fresh. Here's the problem with that. Tide contains a chemical called 1,4-dioxane. It's not on the label. It doesn't have to be because it's a byproduct of the manufacturing process, not an ingredient they intentionally add. The EPA classifies it as a likely human carcinogen. Sit with that for a second. Here's where it gets suspicious. Back in 2013, a group called As You Sow sued Procter & Gamble because Tide had way too much 1,4-dioxane in it. The company was forced to reformulate. Fast forward to 2022, a third-party lab called Bureau Veritas tested Tide again and found Tide Original still had 3.67 parts per million. New York's law capped it at 2 and dropped to 1 by the end of 2023. So New York forced another reformulation. They lowered it again. Think about that pattern. The only reason those levels came down was because they got sued. Then they got regulated. Both times. The manufacturing process has not changed. The chemical is still being created. They just clean out more of it when they're forced to. And then there's the fragrance. Oh, here we go. Here's Nick with the fragrances again. Do you get the picture though? Now, all these chemicals are in your clothes, touching your skin 24 hours a day. Every shirt, every pair of underwear, every sheet you sleep on, your body is the receipt. I now use Molly Suds. The unscented version works great. Branch Basics is also another solid one. And since I made the switch, my skin isn't as dry as it used to be, and I don't get random pimples on my upper back anymore. Kinda makes sense when you think about it. My clothes aren't soaking my skin in endocrine disruptors for 24 hours a day anymore. Now, the cheapest and most holistic way is using soap nuts or just using a baking soda with a little bit white vinegar in the rinse cycle. Not as formulated as the other brands, but it does work. If you made it this far, this last one is the one I wish I did first. Plastic water bottles. I used to drink out of Arrowhead spring water. Before that, any purified water. I thought I was being healthy because I wasn't drinking tap. And funny story actually, back in 2016, I told my friends that plastic water bottles affect your testosterone. They all laughed at me. I got in my head and I thought maybe I was being a little bit too dramatic, so I caved and I started drinking out of plastic again. Should have just trusted my gut. 10 years later, the research actually caught up to what I was saying, and now I have a high voice because of it. Two problems with that. First, every plastic bottle leaches microplastics into the water. You purchase them either cold or at room temperature, but you aren't seeing the full delivery process before it lands in your shopping cart. I have seen videos online where these things are baking in the sun, and they're also likely baking in a warehouse or sitting in a hot truck during shipping. Heat accelerates leaching, So by the time you're drinking it, you're ingesting more plastic particles. In a 2022 study out of Amsterdam, researchers found microplastics in the blood of 77% of the people they tested. And PET, the exact plastic used in water bottles, was the most common one they found. Second, even if the bottle never saw the heat, the plastic itself is still leaching. It's not a question of if, it's a question of how much. Every sip is some amount of plastic going into your body that you really don't need and can easily avoid. Here's a switch I made. I now use a reverse osmosis filter in my kitchen, the Robot from Bluvua. It's a countertop unit, no plumbing required. You literally just plug it in and go. Filters out almost everything. And I also drink out of a glass refillable bottle with a stainless steel lid. No plastic. But Nick, it's like $300. Ho ho ho! I did the math. If you drink a gallon of bottled water a day, you're spending about $620 a year on Arrowhead. The Robot I just suggested right now is $300 upfront on Amazon, and it comes with the filters already included. So year one alone, you're already saving over $320. Year two and beyond, replacement filters run you about $135 a year, so you're almost saving about $500 every year after that. It pays for itself in 6 months. Every sip of water your body needs is now saving you money instead of costing you. And you're also drinking water that isn't baking in plastic for 6 months. Now there is always another layer to this though. Even RO water strips out the good minerals, so you have to add them back in. I just do a small pinch of high quality sea salt, and a lot of people skip this part. Don't be one of them. If you do nothing else from this video, please throw out your air fresheners, open up a freaking window. That alone changes the air you breathe for 16 hours a day. It's free, it's instant, but most importantly, it will make me happy because I have a huge beef with those stupid things. Drop a comment and tell me which one of these 5 you're swapping first. No matter how big this channel gets, I'm reading every single one. I spent years with dry skin, dry hair, random breakouts. Once I fixed my food, most of it cleared up. But the thing that actually opened my eyes was realizing almost every conventional product I'd be using my entire life was tainted with the same garbage I'd spend months leaning to clean out of my diet. And once you see that pattern, you can't unsee it. Break the loop. Speaking of breaking things, next week I'm breaking down the exact detox protocol I used. I mentioned that earlier, the one that actually took away my hive breakouts. And on that note, keep restoring your kingdoms. I'll catch you on the next one.